Oh, so each where you are on the planet, just make sure your body feels like it's being held well. It doesn't have to do anything, but just be there with us in this moment. And then just notice your breath bringing you back to focus in this time, in this place. Anything that you've been doing, just put it off to the side. Let the left brain take care of it, but we're not going to bring it into the conversation right now. Just say, yes, I'll pick you up in a minute. So that we're present, being here now. In whatever way you choose, I will use words I use, but in that also you within your inner world claim the space for our safety and sovereignty. And so we'll be doing that together, me verbally and you inwardly. So we're gathered here in the space of sacred sovereignty. In this moment of time, what we call time on the planet, at this moment of interaction and energy and movement on planet Earth, knowing that we are from the stars and we have that connection holding us as we also observe. We are grateful for Gaia for allowing our star families to be on her surface as we bring ourselves back into harmony of wholeness. We know that she now also has been given the voice of authority for her space, and we stand with Gaia, claiming her also sovereign, connected to the divine beyond her form, the intelligent fields of creativity, protection, safeguarding, moving forward in good ways. We're grateful for all of her creations of good and know that they are also part of this work, as are the many expressions of our divine families. So we are here, sacred, sovereign space of freedom, of our divine families' agendas of good. Each of us connected to teams beyond the planet as well as on the planet, with that overarching goal of returning all to wholeness. We ask that this energy of this circle, anchored physically with our bodies, also that alert, conscious part of ourself lifting into that platform in the worlds beyond Earth that has even greater wisdom and observation and creativity, that we do our work in that field, on that platform of the fourth world. And with that, our circle is claimed, called, declared, and set. And so it is. Then you're ready to breathe yourself back to our present moment. We're going to place ourselves consciously into the circle. And I'll put ourselves in the round around here. So Sharon Raji Maynard would be Island, Washington, here in the circle. our friend Deborah Levine in the South, and I keep forgetting what state she's in, but she couldn't be here today. But she's wanting us to know that she's working with writers, being called as a judge, and doing many things. So she wanted that put into the circle. Victoria in Idaho is on another call doing some work, and so she wanted to be put into the circle included. Evie Boynton in Washington State, and she's working with a couple of groups as well as the Baha'is during this time. And she wanted to say that I'm doing some work, but put me in the circle. So those are the ones I've heard from. And so from there, I'll pass to Regina. Oh, and you'll have to mute unmute, by the way. I think I can do that, but you can do it yourself.
How many minutes do we have for our container? What's come up in the last couple of weeks, or is that where we're at right
We'll do that next. Let's just put ourselves in the circle, your name and where you are on the planet, kind of like saying, I've got my staff right here. Good.
I'm Regina Sen. I live in the west coast of the United States. I'm from a little town of about 600 people in the Mohawk Valley, in a little town called Camp Creek, up a river called the McKenzie River. My dad used to tease me, call it the Mouse River. And it's the home of the Mohawk Native Americans and the Kalapuya. I am so delighted to be here and to connect with heart-centered humans in a really beautiful time to help others rise through into that light.
Hi, hi everyone. I'm Margie Lystra, and I am in Sandy, Utah.
Hello, everyone. I am Karen Crane, and I am in Everett, Washington, pretty close to Sharon,
Yeah.
in the west coast of the United States, up in the top corner of the west coast of the United States.
Yep.
Because as usual, I am out of the box. I'm on the other side of the United States, in Sarasota, Florida at the moment.
Here we are. So here we are. And I'm going to use this as a declaration statement. I have various circles. Some of them are classes and some of them circles that have been going on for a long time. And what I'm from, because of our conversation last 2 weeks ago, when we say, what's the next step? Remember that? And I said, I think the next step is claiming an outcome. What's the common goal maybe? And it could be a pretty big goal. So what I've been doing is bringing a declaration, the same declaration, into all of my websites, into all of my circles. So this is the one that came out of some healing, spiritual energy group that's been working together a very long time. And so they have said this, and so I'm claiming it for everyone. And if it doesn't fit for you, just let me know. But I think it will. We are a tribe of star beings, birthed in a female bodysuit, who hold the values of clarity of presence, empowered by unconditional love, light, joy, true understanding, authentic self, discernment, trust of self, peace, contribution, and community. So just let that sit, because I'm going to go over now to what came out of as a statement from this particular group, and I have to go into a website to claim to speak to it. Keep doing the wrong thing here. There we go. This is probably it. I am participating and a unified collective, weaving a world in which energies, policies, structures, and systems come from values of all good and have manifested to bring benefit to all life forms. Putting that into maybe a personal declaration, multiple teams of clarity and support guide me as a participant in an extensive plan with numerous possibilities of all good, which some people call love, but it's all good. I have taken actions that have created a world in which culture, policies, systems, and creations have manifested to benefit all forms of life. Just said, how does that set with you? And put maybe a word or two into the chat. What does that resonate with you? Might be thumbs up, it might be yes, whatever. Put in the chat. And realizing that these are big statements. And the big statement is there so that you can weave your own piece in it and you fit. You see? Yes, Janet, you would. Everyone would use different words, which is absolutely perfect. I mean, that's what we need, different languages. The same thing, but different languages. Really good. I'll enjoy the kitty cat. Yes. Yeah. So I wanted something. I mean, I have to use my words. We all have to use our words. And I totally, we have to own that. But I wanted something big enough, for those two statements that there's a place for anybody. And it's really important that everyone use their own words for that. Okay. So what I thought, first of all, is, and if there's something else you want to discuss first, raise your hand, because we're women, but we work with conversation, and there's not one who knows everything or should know everything. So I'm just going to tell you kind of where I would invite first as the first prompt. What has transpired for you since 2 weeks ago? What do you find that's emerging, expanding, questions, activities? What do you want to talk about? And I'm saying in relationship to where you were with us last 2 weeks ago and where you are now. It might be something you're doing or thinking about doing. And I'm just going to popcorn. So whoever wants to speak first, just open up, speak, breathe, and then we'll know when we know you're complete. Then somebody else. Yeah.
I'd like to start it off with a container, a short poem.
Perfect.
Titled "A Walk in the Park." What if we think before interactions with loved ones or the next difficult person we meet upon our path, I'm going to love their nervous system. How would life be for the next person or the next, for our hearts within? I met a person at our local Kroger's market, Fred Meyer, 6 o'clock at night. I asked her, how's her day going? At the customer service desk, well, no one has yelled at me yet, and I'm 2 hours into my shift. Oh dear, I thought. Is that our bar now? I wondered, asked her aloud, how long has it been like this? Sometime after COVID began, I can't remember exactly when. And so with that container, I know we have an example, kind of nationally of someone who abuses nervous systems. And that's something we can counter. And it really came to the forefront for me in a life-threatening situation this week. About a year ago, a woman I take care of 24/7 since 2021, she was in a life-threatening gap of care. And the universe opened up a way of understanding to let me know I wasn't failing her as an advocate, but that she was a part of a bigger group of people, literally tortured living humans on the, I guess, byway of life and collateral damage on a larger, I guess, national problem that's been addressed, but they've created a secondary problem. They never were part of the first one. And those are people with intractable pain, with like significant catastrophic conditions of pain. And so I was in a life-threatening gap of care with her a year ago. And the universe opened up to let me know she was part of a greater group. And I found a rescue for her by opening up an account under Regina Sen, which is my advocate name, and starting to write poetry. And I searched for a rescue for her and found a hero of a doctor who this week they decided to try and pull his license. And so on Friday morning, I joined the meeting, so excited to tell the story because her story is a national headline story. And I finally got permission to tell it. And what did the medical board say? They said, there's public hearing today, but not for anything that's on the agenda. The universe opened up, and what came forth, what bubbled up, was actually a solution-minded way for them to engage in the future and also to speak for him and his impact in the now. And so like the I would love to tell you about what came up because it has a broader impact as well as an impact within this pain community. And I wrote a letter. It probably takes 4 minutes to read. I don't know if that's something you're interested in, but I can, if not, I can like send it to you all and you can see it. But it really has this broader idea of loving our nervous system, which is also something that just came to me today, actually this morning. I have had an incredible mentor who has brought me, I found a rescue found me when I was trying to find a rescue for someone else. I was a disabled person trying to help someone crushingly disabled just by being a witness 24/7 on the four corners of her bed, trying to keep her alive. And I received an incredible education from her. She's actually a Columbia graduate. She went to the teachers college there, a DEI graduate. She had decided to she quit her corporate soul sucking job to go back to school to try and put heart in the education system so that traumatized children at home didn't come and get traumatized at school. A year after she was in her dream job in Brooklyn, New York, helping the most traumatized. She could have made a lot of money with that Ivy League degree, but chose this heart of service. This woman had a failed spinal fusion. At 25, the same age as Luigi Mangione. Does anyone know who that is? He's the guy who shot the CEO of United Healthcare. Same age as him, same diagnosis in the lower back, 25 years old, same age as him, failed spinal fusion. Her x-ray looks the same, 26, only she's 39 now, 10 years later in unmanaged pain, and her brain is broken. We're on this journey to get her back. And the rescue that found me, she taught me, I just realized today, how to love my own nervous system. She brought me through a treatment plan that helped me finally recover from the PTSD of pushing through torture myself for 12 years because of Lyme disease. And this process of loving my nervous system from the place of universal love that I tuned into in that journey, it brought me back my health. It brought me back the ability to be present with you today. And if we can just all take that focus of loving our own nervous systems, learning what that entails, having compassion for ourselves, and then extending that grace to others, what a world we'd have. And I'm trying to create a handbook for families who get hit by the worst of storms and they're blindsided. And there's so many fractured families because of it, trying to help educate them about their own nervous systems and also the limited capability and capacities of those in massive unmanaged pain. So that's a container. And I have a wonderful letter describing it. And I would just love to bring in some experts and create a handbook together. And I think it would have impact, not just in that community, but really truly beyond.
So, what, as I'm listening, and it'd be great to, especially let's give everybody a chance to speak, but then we can go into deeper things. So, as I look at this platform, and I call it the galactic platform, because in the galactic platform, all these pieces are really needed, right? And a role of educating is what you've been called to do. But not only educating, because also there's an element of whistleblower in it. Saying, pay attention, there's something wrong here, but you're not just saying, hey, there's something wrong here. Here's an idea for solution, right? And so right now, it sounds like what you're excited about is the possibility that you have something that could be shared right now into maybe a specific community, but probably it could be beyond that, but a specific community that says, hey, are you dealing with this kind of damage? I've been looking for this kind of help. Here's a step. Here's something that I have or could put together, whether that's workshops or lectures or videos or whatever. That's an educator. It's a truth teller, right? I'm just thinking that maybe what would be valuable is for each of us, as we say what we're saying, understand that, oh, I see, this is maybe the role I've been called to in this bigger fabric.
It's also a harmonizer and a healing path.
Definitely healer, right? And which is harmonizing, right? And you're doing it also through education, specifically, I think ideas and concepts, right?
I need a cross-discipline team.
Well, make a note in your journal. Speak it into the field. You just did. Good. And let's go around, and then depending on how much time we have, coming back to hear a little bit more details, because we're getting tip of the iceberg here, but at least we're beginning to see some of the icebergs, what we each other have. Is that good, Regina? Great. Who else? Who would like to speak next?
You're muted, Sharon.
Sharon, you're muted.
Oh, I said, just go ahead and pop off your mute when you're ready. Then Jack,
Okay.
you're on,
Oh.
Jack.
Who's,
Yeah.
Where do I go with all this? Because Chronos time is limited. But what has come up for me over the past 2 weeks is some really interesting dynamic shifts within me. First of all, I'm around a lot of dying friends right now. And many of them are in money-making assisted living facilities. One chained to her bed, so that she can't even get up to go to the bathroom. And she's now in the hospital. I haven't spoken with her for a couple of days. I had another friend in a rehab. This is a former attorney who was given a rubber mattress to sleep on and not enough water to drink. And, you know, within myself, there's a part of me that is really tired. I'm tired of dealing with the trauma and the narcissistic bullies. But that seems to be my role on the planet. And I notice that I have changed recently, which to me is interesting. I'm no longer playing the traditional feminine role of being kind and understanding and, you know, picking up the pieces and filling in the gaps. And I'll just tell one story. I have many, many, many more stories, but I'll tell just one. Sharon may have heard this one before. I think. But I was pulling into a gas station to fill up my gas tank. Oh, a couple weeks ago, I guess. And I was almost positioned so that the hose would reach the opening to the gas tank, but not quite. So I was still maneuvering my car. And this male in a sports car, I mean, he was probably 40 or 50 years old, is my best guess. He came slamming into that gas station and saying to me, "Move!" Well, I was in my car. Had I been outside of my car, I probably would have moved because he could have killed me. But because I had the protection of my car, I just held my ground and stayed put. And, you know, he's still hollering at me to move, get out of the way, but it's toned down a little bit. And he pulled over to the other side of the same gas tank. He's still yakking at me with very abusive language. And finally, I just rolled down my window. I didn't get out of my car because I didn't want to be physically in this guy's space because he's physically stronger than me. I didn't choose to be born into a female body, but that's what I have to work with. So I stayed in my car. I rolled down my window and I just said, "Do you have no respect for women?" And he stopped talking, left the gas tank, and drove off. At which point I got out of my car and filled up mine. I didn't. I'll let somebody else have a turn. I have more stories I can tell.
I want to come in here. I might come in often. I hope that's okay. On the galactic platform, the entrapment that occurred to say that women are soft, gentle, and can take anything and serve without discernment is the lie. The female bodysuit contains the voice of authority. And that's what's been ripped from us, which we are stepping back into. That's why we can move mountains that we weren't able to move 20 years ago. So what Janet just spoke to is an absolute female stand right here, not moving, not engaging, totally surrounded with her car, but totally surrounded with rights. And then I look at you in the eye and I say, "Have you no respect?" I'm not taking it. You didn't say that, but you kind of did. It reminds me of the governor this last week of one of the states, with Trump saying to her, being a governor, "You know, if you do not obey the federal dictation, I've said that trans cannot play in girls' sports," which I think I will you will receive no federal money. Bully, bully, bully. And he did that several times directly. And she said, I obey state and federal law. And then he said again, either buckle down or you'll get no money. Bully, bully. And she looked him in the eye and she said, we'll see you in court. That's female. We have been locked into that I'm going to serve, I've got to serve everybody without discernment because it had been taken from us. No longer true. Our job was discernment, staff in the ground, sword in the sky to the heavens above, and say, that energy, eliminate it, move it back to its beginning, clear my space, period. And that's what we're moving into. So Janet, you did exactly. Mimi, you are in a female body because you do that kind of stuff. I mean, I know you do that kind of stuff. And are we tired of it? Yes, but you know what? We've been doing it. And people have said that's masculine. No, it's not. That's female. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with mine. We're moving mountains. And the mountains are the ones that have been crushing us. So kudos to you, Janet. What comes to my mind is right here in this group, there's a core happening, and in this core, there's us older women who've been around a long time and a long time and a long time, depending on. But I want to see us also beginning to attract those women who are looking for that because they know it within themselves. This is who they are. So anyway, sorry. Okay, Regina, and then yes, Regina.
Can I respond just in some small way to what she shared?
Right now, I think that's what we're doing here. I think the interaction is good, and yes, unless anybody says no, but the interaction is good, don't you think? To have some interactive time.
Okay, so here's a small container. It's 30 seconds. The rescue that found me, she reached out to me from Poland and said that she wanted to know if I had any health problems. No, there was literally no clue of that in my wall at all. It was all about this other person. And she said she loved my art. She felt the love emanating from it. She was an infectious disease doctor in Poland. I had Lyme disease that I had not ever recovered from the trauma of, evidently. And she's like, would you like me to help you? Not for profit, but support the love in your art. And that journey has been absolutely beautiful. It's honestly been healing for her and me. And also the journey of helping the two individuals I have since an amazing soul heard my story in 2018 when I was abandoned, completely helpless, and drove from Arizona and took care of me for like 6 months. And I actually finally went in remission from Lyme after 12 years. The process of walking alongside each other and like in this Good Samaritan kind of way of like, and of being there for each other in this time of need is so healing, and it's also massively growing. And I think about this great gap that we have of wisdom between the older generation and the younger generation, and I think it's because we're not serving alongside them. They're going into homes and getting neglected and abandoned and harmed, and we're literally outsourcing our own growth and healing and connection with like what's really important for us to carry forward within ourselves. Outsourcing care, I think it's kind of outsourcing our humanity. How do we restructure society so that we can like hold spaces for each other in our journey through life? I really wonder about that. I think teaching each other about their nervous systems and how to love it is really a key, because I think people are just really nervous about like the turmoil it could be. And they just don't know. It doesn't have to be that way. We got knowledge now, scientifically, that we never had before. How can we reimagine our society?
Well, I'm Karen, and picking up on what Regina just said, how can we reimagine our society? That is totally mind-boggling to me. And it's so huge, my focus can't go there. So I'm pulling back to kind of where am I and what has happened in the last 2 weeks for me. I have been a teacher. I called it a wisdom teacher. And now that I'm learning more about this galactic stuff and being a light worker and these labels, I always knew it was channeled. But for the last about 15 years, I've done wisdom posts on Facebook, has been my biggest platform. And they got started because my guide, some people would do something and my guides would say, that's not going to take you where you want to go. But you can't walk up to someone and say that to them. So I started saying it in wisdom posts. If you want to go here, try this. And I wondered at first if anybody cared about my opinion. It felt like my opinion. And the answer was yes. And I got quite a large following. And uh, and then a couple years ago, two or 3 years, in the last 2 or 3 years, I was injured. I was hacked on Facebook. I lost my 10-year-long Facebook account with all my following, and I kind of everything ground to a halt. And so I've been sitting healing, first healing. It's a physical healing. That and it's like taking a break. Like I was on this path that I thought I was on, and now the path stopped. So what am I going to do next? And so now with the, especially with the political situation, but also my healing, my energy is back, my thinking is back. I have reconnected with some people. It's time to do and wondering what is my role in all this? And definitely a teacher, and a guide. And I have actually copies of most of those wisdom posts that it feels like it's time to put them in a book. And but the times are changed so much. On the one hand, they're still totally valid, but on the other hand, new ones are coming up, or they're coming up in a different level of importance, and I'm jotting them down. And I haven't started posting much yet, but I'm really getting ready. And one of the things about that fits really with what what you're talking about, and this new information. My posts I posted in the beginning. I do know a lot about marketing, so I was posting in order to get attention. So I gave my post a name, and it was called Wisdom Work for Women. And I would just say Wisdom Work for Women, and then post 2 or 3 paragraphs. Started out with 2 or 3 sentences, but some of them got longer. And so people that followed me saw, I posted other things too, but when they saw Wisdom Work for Women, they knew it was going to be a piece of advice. They didn't know it, but I knew it was coming from the divine feminine perspective. If I said that, people didn't want to hear it. That didn't seem to matter. But so I didn't say that's what I'm doing, but that's what I've always done, is the divine feminine perspective. And I've always battled with myself about wisdom work for women. Am I leaving men out? Is this right or wrong, or should I do it? And a few men have contacted me and said, I read your posts, I like them. And I've said, good, because it wasn't really for women. The point was wisdom from the divine feminine, which is how to get things done in a loving, nurturing, inclusive, respectful way. And so for 10 years I have been getting these channelings. I've been getting the advice from my guides to say to people, and it's like they get inspired. I get inspired when to put a certain thing down, and tapped into a group energy of people that were listening. And that group still exists, and they're still befriending me, and they're still in my Facebook life, not nearly as many. Although some of them they come and find me when I got hacked and I've got a new account now. It's been 2 years, but people still haven't even realized I'm not there. And because my old profile is still there. But anyway, I guess what I'm just saying here is I am reclaiming my work. I was wondering if it was going to totally change or what should I do. And this is me. This is a comfort level with me. This is what I do best. And it's short bits of advice that comes through me.
Yeah.
And so that I just kind of wanted to share that what's happened since we met 2 weeks ago, and I knew this was happening, and it's been coming on actually for quite a few months. But in the last 2 weeks, suddenly it's solidifying. I'm getting way more comfortable in my own body about that this is what I'm supposed to do. Yes, it's what I've always done. Yes, some of it's not even new, but it's what's needed. It's what is needed. And so that's kind of where I am. And I've just been jotting all kinds of little notes down of things that are inspiring to me right now that I need to be writing about. One that came up today was I want to be fiercely kind. And I want to be a role model and look for role models. If people will look for role models, they can tell what to do. So you look for them and you be one. And by that, you be one. And you live aligned to your personal value system. And the value system is heart-centered and loving. And so I just describe pieces of this in my posts. But today, and I read something on Facebook that just spoke to me so loudly that I'd like to read it. It's brief. That just kind of fits in all this that we're talking about. And it's a quote by her name is Ilya Prigogine. I'm not sure how to say that, but she's a Nobel Prize winning chemist. And the quote says, when a complex system is far from equilibrium, which is true, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to shift the entire system to a higher order. And I find that so invigorating and inspiring. that I can be a small island of cohesiveness, that we can all be that little piece and help shift this whole system. So I don't, that's what I could say much more because I can talk and talk and talk, but I think that's all I have to say for now.
You're in a group like that. So Karen, you know what comes to mind? Not you're an educator, but you are it again. Where would the role I would say is like speaking, like a reminder of the divine home, reminder of all good, just short little snippets of reminder of home, reminder of home, a reminder of home, and letting that ripple whatever way. And we need that. You know what I haven't heard from you, Janet, before is your experience of these women, our older sisters, accomplished women, and look what's happening to them. That's a whistleblower. As a blaster, I'm a blaster for sure, meaning I'm going to go to cause and go like, what in the hell is going on there? Where did that begin? I'm going to go heal it. I'm going to change the path, my gosh. I have not ever heard you say that before. So I just wanted to acknowledge, thank you for the whistleblower today. Yeah. Margie, what you got to
More
say?
stories, but it's a change in me. I have learned, however, from men. Most of my mentors have been men, and they have taught me things which generally within our cultural system, as a born into a female body, I have not been allowed to learn.
Yes. That's changing, however. Absolutely, we're changing that. Like I said, I know in the energy work as I know it, women started to that freedom of women's authority started like 20, maybe 23. We have only energetically been able to begin to heal, and that wound is huge. 2023. We've been able to scream about it, whistle blow about it, but we've been captured by it, angered by it, doormat, angered, doormat, because we didn't have that authority. We do now. And I think some of our younger sisters have that sense that we do. And so we, speaking to them, will affirm what they're feeling, I think. I don't know, but I think that, and so I really want to start saying, where's the younger ones too, so we can affirm what they inwardly know, but maybe haven't seen so much in the world, but we can say, yes, you have it, keep going. Margie, and then we'll.
I have a couple of thoughts that I'd like to share. Hopefully I can weave them together. I only have one sibling, sister, 2 years older than me. She died in a house fire on Valentine's Day last year. So it's been a long year of healing. And it was really some deep family healing, and it brought up a lot of unfinished business for me because you never know what that death's going to bring up for you. My husband and I have season tickets to a theater, and we went to a play this last week, and it happened to be that it was Little Women. So here you have the story of the 4 March sisters, and each one of them is sort of resonates kind of an archetype of women. And one of the women who was of the sisters who was frail had died, and the mother was trying to tell Joe, who was the more energetic, outward, independent one, trying to console her. And she said this line, and the line in the play was, live your life as if she matters. But the she in that nanosecond was at first my sister, and then all of a sudden the she became capitalized, and it became my sister, my mother, my grandmother, all of the ancestry that the she's that we all need to live our, and every she you've been in every lifetime that were disempowered and couldn't heal and couldn't become, now is where we are as women We need to live our lives as though all the she's matter. We're here to be pattern breakers, light workers, holders of the energy. There's that one school of thought. Ever since COVID, but especially ever since the election, I'm a deep meditation practitioner and a long time spiritual energy practitioner. And so observing energy and how it's been dividing out has been part of what's been really apparent to me. And I've received a lot of spiritual guidance around the division of energy. So I'd like to use, I think, this idea. I would guess most of you have watched the movie Monsters, Inc. I know I have because I have grandchildren. So Monsters, Inc. No. So it's a Pixar film. Those people over at Pixar have a really interesting, forward-thinking way about a lot of things. So the monsters scare children so they can harvest the energy of their screams. That is the basis of the film. And of course, it's cute and it's funny, but the underlying idea of energy is very much the same. And I think for me, the last few weeks, I've been very conscious of my own energy field. And as the overwhelm, as the shock and awe keeps coming faster and faster, I've been really mindful to not allow myself energetically to be pulled into the chaos. And I think there's this really important thing about becoming, first and foremost, independent power brokers of our own energy. We must keep our energy at a vibration that nobody is having tasty lunch off of us, like in Monsters, Inc. We must be the ones that hold the vibration so high. This reminds me of David Hawkins' work and how if you resonate at a certain vibration, then you are going to counterbalance thousands and thousands who can't hold that vibration. So I think for me, that's this idea of being in a female bodysuit right here, right now, living out a destiny, I think, that females have been waiting for millennia of time, to have the honor, privilege almost, to be here at this moment. And it isn't by accident that we're here now. We've all chosen to be here to help in this specific way. I think on a real personal level, I've become really aware of managing my energy well every day, just making sure that I'm grounded. Something else that happened recently was as I was grounding, do you know how aspen trees, it's this one single root system? I found when I was grounding, I'm grounding into this root system that's totally different. I hadn't seen it like this before, but of the rest of us. It's the system that supports all of us. And when I ground up, the same system exists above as well. And so in between, we are the ones who can manifest the energy from above and below, to make sure I'm grounded into that. And also to make sure the energy field around myself is filled, and that I give it clarity every day of the identified qualities I'm walking in. Seal that in. I'm protected and my power is intact the minute I'm up and moving and out in the world doing whatever I need to. I think those are the things that have come to mind for me these last few days, especially last few weeks. Thanks.
Go ahead. Yeah, Regina.
Margie, thank you so much for sharing that. That was, I would say today was one of the first times that I was able to really do that and draw my energy back in after a tough week and a tough night. The thing that resonated with me so much is that my mentor, the doctor from Poland who who helps people, get their lives back, especially after trauma. She said I needed to shift my focus into living life against the backdrop of energy hygiene. And so life happens on the backdrop of regular energy hygiene. And she taught me what that was like, and what worked for me. And that's also part of like why I'm trying to bring in experts to echo my own experiences and echo hers, and able to teach people like the kind of resilience emotionally that just, I don't know, I think the opposite is happening in the school system. So to be able to teach it to families in crisis, and then also then expand it out as success stories come forth. And I just need to let you know, my experience was not all peaches and cream or a walk in the park. That it's been filled with some learning experiences and some tragedy. And it beckoned the kind of growth that we've been on a trajectory for. So I have skin in the game. And I really appreciate you bringing that up, because that's a really big key. And my background is in Christianity. That's my roots. Where it's the path on which I connected to universal love. There's no talk about energy. What I needed to heal was not on my path. It was only the greatest wish of my heart that I could be an instrument in bringing down the man-made walls of religion, causing so much harm, so that we can see each other as we really are. It opened me up to hearing others' experiences, looking for people resonating with my own in love. And that's when I learned about this energy, this aspect of life and living. And wow, wouldn't it be amazing if you could come and speak to people who have no clue what they're missing out on? And so, anyways, thank you. And thank you, Sharon, for creating this space for us.
The thing I hear in Margie's, and thank you, Regina, I think it's really important that we understand that right now, I mean, we're just getting to know each other. I see some really, really good things happening, and it's not all that can happen. But, Margie talking about making sure she matters, making sure she matters. For me, that is what has what opened me to time travel. The old concept, we can't change the past, so we have to change the future. I'm sorry, the future is not going to change unless we change the past. So, that curiosity of what's going on also can lead you to mother, grandmother, where were they and how can I bring them forward? Are they still stuck in their mess? Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to bring them with me, because I am fortunate enough, because of their strength, to keep our life going, our family line going, that I'm here now at a time where I have access to things that they didn't have. I'm going to bring them forward. I'm leaving no one behind, right? That time travel, the curiosity, as well as that specific energy healer. And I think we all have, when I say energy healer, educator, I think we all have that for sure. And then it shows up in very different ways, and sometimes the same way. Like, I don't know, Janet, you didn't say this, but Janet is a collaborative weaver. You see that planetary peace, power, prosperity? That's not just Janet. She's holding the loom for weaving, you see? And I do too, but if I didn't do it, great, Janet's doing it,
Let me
Janet,
just comment for a minute in response to that, Sharon. That if each and every person on this planet would learn to bring inner peace, a sense of personal empowerment,
Mhm.
and a sense of abundance. I mean, prosperity, it can be money, but it's not necessarily money. It can be walking in nature, looking at a beautiful sunset, picking up shells on a beach. It can be lots of things. It can be friendship with someone with whom you really resonate. But if each person would work just on themselves instead of trying to change everything out there together, we would have a peaceful, powerful, prosperous planet. So I think it was Karen, maybe before, was you can't deal with a whole big thing, but you are an important microcosm of the macrocosm, and you can do what you can do given your own path and your own skills in your own personal space in each and every moment. And if everybody would do that, we would have it would be planetary.
Yeah. Yeah. I think part of this is 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 beginning to understand for our own self, this is what I love. Oh, this is what I want to do. Oh, it is important. Then claim it as so. You know, in our class, in the class I teach, I always start with, well, who are you? I am a presence of. I am a presence of peace, stability, da, 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 whatever you are. Claim it. And 6 months down the road, there might be some changes because all of a sudden there's something more you want to add. Keep claiming it, consciously claiming it. Power. Regina, what's going on in the United States country today is so damaging to the neurological system in the brain. You probably know that. That doesn't even, I mean, and that you're talking about what's happened and how people have been dealing with it back here, but right here and right now, that information is important. And so, you know, we're being called to something. Claim it as valuable. You may not even know where or how it fits, but claim it. And that you have the support, the resources, the networking for that stability and letting it flower. And then Regina and then Janet.
Um, yeah, you know, my journey for 12 years through Lyme was through the torture of a nervous system.
Yeah.
And like the pathway I found out was, you know, not it was in the journey within, seeking to love come what may, with all the energy of my heart. But it was also interconnected with others.
Yeah, always.
We're such islands. And we're shamed for not being.
The lives we live in. Janet, I saw you're ready. Of course.
Okay, I have to tell another story. Since we've gotten into Donald Trump and what's going on in a political macrocosmic level right now, all over the planet. I was driving home the other day, just been out shopping for groceries, and I stopped at a traffic light, and the car in front of me had on the bumper something like, Donald Trump was right. And then there's this big MAGA hat right up on the back shelf behind me. This is not normal me, but I screamed at that guy. I don't even remember what I said. And it's almost as if I'm using the Trump dynamics against somebody who has drunk the Trump Kool-Aid. And I have previous experience with Donald Trump years ago, too, when I practiced law in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and he was building his first casino there. But anyway, I'm screaming at this guy. He heard me because I could see his face in the rear view mirror, and he may have, kind of looked around to see who the hell's screaming at me, you know. And I tailed him all the way up until I got to my own gate, my own home. I just was right behind him because I wanted him to pay attention that not everybody has drunk this Kool-Aid. And there are people who are going to say no. And you see it all over the country now. All these protests going up. It's a bottom up welling of rage and anger and no, I am not going to do this and I am not going to support this. And you are a liar and frankly, an asshole. So it's an interesting dynamic. It's not one I enjoy playing in, but this just came up for me again, and it's standing firmly, holding the ground against the narcissistic bullying, the top-down dictatorship. Now, there is one positive thing I see about it, which is there's a sense, at least for me, I feel more stabilized for some reason, or more centered than I did before the election, when it felt as if everything was swinging back and forth. But yeah, am I supporting Donald Trump? I'm a never Trumper. I'm sorry. You can kill me. You can kill my body, but you'll never kill my soul. I guess I'm done for the moment.
You know, Dr. Smith,
You
I
can
was,
call me
I,
whatever you want. I don't care.
oh, when the election happened in 2016, I was just really troubled, like, you know, we're putting in a wolf that's not even in sheep's clothing. And I got to thinking, and I'm like, what is it that really troubles me? And I was thinking about my own like spiritual history, and there's a prediction about and babes shall rule them um in a time of like great difficulty um in a country. And I just thought about that, like a babe is can be viewed as somebody who has not yet developed consciously and progressed on that loving path and gone through all that work, but maybe has like it's storming and not in that space. And I was just like, he's a babe in rich men's breeches, and you want to cloak him in power? I just, and here we are, and he's out there behaving like someone who's a child who's never learned to like love and just knows to storm and harm.
Suspect he was stormed at and harmed as a child and
Yeah,
abused by his own father.
yeah,
That's what I suspect.
I agree. He's living out what his reality has been to survive and to thrive. And gosh, can we show him another way? I mean, in a way, actually would support him. Who wants to manage a country full of people who can't manage their own nervous systems? How hard is that? Can we support our leaders and help shape people into more grounded human beings like you guys? I'm sure I have much to learn from you because I'm only new on this path.
So here we are. I think it's been another very rich conversation. I just finished listening to a conversation from the Cherokee Nations, and we get wisdom from so many places, and sometimes the wisdom we share here validates what I'm getting, and you're getting. I mean, I thank you for saying that because I've been feeling it. That kind of thing. We also are validating each other so that we go like, I'm not alone, and what I have to do is valuable. So one of the things that the conversation was about in this Cherokee Nation was that what they have is a core group, and they have a name for it. It's a Cherokee name, and this core group is all living according to the Cherokee, which is we are working together for the good of the whole. Now that's the same kind of different words for what I said in all the words I said, right? We are working together for the good of the whole, and they are absolutely on the ground doing it. And so they're a hub for this is what's going on. What's going on? What's the need? Like Janet just brought a need. I'm going to take my work and I'm going to say, where's that coming from? I'm going to take it and apply it so I can do it, bring something valuable to it. But so I was thinking one of the things that I think might happen out of these conversations is we're learning from each other also some ideas we hadn't thought about in relationship to our own work. And I think that's probably really a good place to be right now. And then as people come on, there might be somebody that says, Regina, I know exactly how to do and help you expand your work, for example. Would that be good? Write a declaration, say that is happening. Oh, you see, or what I just thought, I'd like to get some younger women on who are kind of probably in the place already, and they just need some older women say, yes, you're right, you know, and or where some advocates that can stand up and say, hey, we're building a new world, and we are not going to let our elders be diminished. You know, who knows what can come? But this is what we're doing. We're a core right now together. We haven't got a name necessarily, and that's okay. We're not going to take the Cherokee name, that we are working together for the good of the whole, and we value each other's work. And what I want to say to you before, as we close, is this. My work has always been in that bigger platform of what we didn't know and now we do, the galactic work. And how does our galactic worlds come into that? What about the new authority of women? What is that about? I will always bring that to the table. I will always say, hey, add this to what you're doing, and you'll find that that might be helpful to you. You don't have to go into my work, but add this. So this is one of the things that I want to close with. When you see energy, when you sense energy, when you see actions out in the world, and it can be anywhere, because the energy of that domination, what we call patriarchy, or I call it parasitic, monsters using the energy of children. I mean, that is so, so truth in there. We have been being used. When you see energy that is not expansive and it's constricting, own it. Okay, I see it, right? And like Janet, so this is what I say to my group. I am a Sophia whose voice of authority has the power to declare and be acted upon. So the motions we go through, at least initially, is like sword. I have my staff, a beautiful wooden staff in my left hand. And I place that right down in the ground and I say, this is my body. This is my home. This is my land. This is my family. This is my community. This is my world. I own it because I am a Sophia. I am a female in a female body with a female collective's assignment to declare and keep safe. I own it because I was called to guard and save. What from? Anything that would bring destruction, domination, damage. We haven't had that until about 20 years ago. Staff in the ground, this is mine. Anna did it. And what triggered it? The Trump stuff. I don't care what triggers it for you. Staff in the ground. Sword in the sky. We are not here to fight. We are not here to cut. That cord, that sword is a connection, secured, brilliant, sharp into our teams off planet. Literally. Sword in the sword in the sky. And I say to those teams, not to elected official, not to my, please keep me nice and warm here. No, into the sky. And I say, this field, that car, that hat, those words have some degree of energy that feels entrapping. I don't care if it's 1%, you feel it just a little, or if you feel it 90%, I don't care. Your responsibility as a soul in a female body is to say, check out this field, that car, that hat, those words. Check out the field. And by my declaration, I say, Scotty Blast, and keep us clear. And that is a whole package of instructions. You can say Scotty Blast, keep, or Deep Six. All protocols that those in the heavens who have been working for the last 20 years, getting stronger, getting more expansive, who will act on your ask, and you will be received. Clear it. And it has nothing to do with the body necessarily. It's the energy. It's the energy you're going after. Never was supposed to be here. And it was our job to say, get it out, because then we can rebalance. So Scotty Blast, Deep Six, but sword in the ground. This is mine. That means staff in the ground, sword in the high. Deep Six, Scotty Blast, move that out. You see? And so I do it a lot because that's part of my role. You don't have to do it, only if you feel what's going on. And in that moment, it's done, it's gone, and you stay in your lane of the role. Women have a dual. We are called to be Scotty Blasters, but that's maybe like 10% because you can get it going and get right onto your role of building the world. So with that, we're a core. We are a core working together for the good. Now, how that's going to come and how it's going to expand will be shown as we keep meeting. And I think I'll just keep doing 2 meetings a month and just see where we're led. Because, there's possibilities, but we're not there yet. And when we get to that it might change. So I'm not even going to talk about that. So I see, Janet, you're unmuted. And so let's just do one go around. What is your takeaway, or what is your blessing, or whatever you want to say before we send the energy out to the world?
Discover who you are and what your role or purpose is to play on this planet, and then do it.
Mhm. Thank you, Janet.
Own your she power.
Loving come what may.
Oh,
I unmuted you, Karen. I think that threw you off a bit.
yeah, now I'm lost, but maybe you can hear me.
We can.
Okay. Yes, yeah, I was poking around trying to unmute. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Thank you, Sharon.
You bet.
I think the takeaway is how connected we all are, and
Mhm.
I totally follow Janet and agree with Janet's thing. Find your own thing. That's exactly what I've been on that mission. But I see that for each of us, and that's what we shared was a thread of our own thing. And it feels like a we my takeaway. I feel something weeping here, and I am so grateful and grateful that you are all part of it. Yeah.
I want to make sure I'd like to find ways, like, I don't know if are you on Facebook, Margie? I know Regina and Kara and Janet are on Facebook. Some way to kind of see, hey, I want to watch what you're doing. I want to watch what you're up to. That's another thing that's curious, because I'm curious. I'm a curiosity person. That, yes. Kara, Margie, you're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, I said I'm on Facebook, but I've also gravitated over to Blue Sky. I'm still on both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky. I haven't used to learn to use that very well. I'm TikTok, and I love TikTok, by the way. It's great for small things, Karen. Really.
I haven't used it. Focused on Facebook.
Yeah. I might get 4 comments on Facebook on a video. I might get maybe 1 on YouTube, where I might get 400 on TikTok. That's the difference that I found. And it'll be there till it's there. But yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Love you guys.
Love you. Thank you so much, Sharon.
Yeah, I'm honored. So let's, in this moment, claim presence. You are rooted into the mycelium of wisdom women, new 2 years old. The wisdom of women on the planet has been destroyed until 2 years ago. The mycelium deep within Gaia. Bring that energy up through the power center of Sophia solar plexus, up through the heart of grace. And let's just multiply it 1,000,000-fold and spread it out into the world, letting it do what it knows how to do. Bless and free, and embrace. And so it is. Thank you, everyone. Until we meet again, whenever we meet again, but I will set this up every other week, and we'll just keep growing our core. Okay? Love you. Bye.
Love you.